Hello there. Hope you have a good day. Let's get started. Today let's discuss about top 10 battleships. Battleships were the largest warships that utilized gun-based weaponry as their main armament. Hundreds of feet in length and displacing tens of thousands of tons, their size allowed them to carry the largest guns and the thickest armor. While battleships are massive weapons, some were larger than others. We sought out the largest of them all and ranked them according to displacement to determine the top 10 biggest battleships of all time. Before get started, please subscribe us to get more updates. The 5 battleships of the King George V class kick off our list at the number 10 spot. The King George V class were the largest and most powerful of the British dreadnoughts that were in service during the Second World War. During the interwar period, between World Wars I and II, the world's naval powers were limited to battleships of no more than 35,000 tons. The Royal Navy went incredibly far to ensure that the King George V class abided by the treaty and even equipped them with 1-4 guns in an effort to get other nations to follow suit. Armed with 10 1-4 guns, the King George class might seem weak. However, the 5 battleships of this class were incredibly well protected with armor that was second only to the Yamato Class. In addition, their 1-4 guns were powerful and they were capable of 28 knots. The ships grew as the war went on, and by 1945, the surviving ships were displacing over 45,000 long tons. The number 9 spot on our list belongs to the Littorio class battleships of the Regia Marina. The dreadnoughts of this class were the largest, fastest, and most powerful battleships of the Italian Navy. We will focus on Roma, the third ship of the class, as she was slightly longer and heavier than her two sisters. During the interwar period, Italy had 70,000 tons allotted to them for new battleship construction. Though Italy tried to develop 2 ships of 35,000 tons, they ultimately decided to build 2 battleships of 40,000 tons, ignoring the treaty. The first 2 ships, Littorio and Vittorio Veneto, were laid down in the mid-1930s. Armed with 9 powerful 1-5 guns and capable of speeds of 30 knots, the Littorio class were among the most powerful battleships of their day. 2 more ships, Roma and Impero, were later authorized, with only Roma being completed. Roma was built to a modified design featuring an improved bow and additional light anti-air guns. The number 8 spot on our list belongs to a battleship that put on more weight over her career than any other ship featured on the list. The Japanese Nagato Class were among the largest battleships at the time of their commissioning and grew to rival new battleships launched over 2 decades later. When first entering service, the 2 Nagato Class battleships were the most powerful battleships afloat and the first to mount 1-6 guns. With a speed greater than 25 knots and carrying 8 16.1 guns, they were formidable warships. The Nagato class were originally 708, 215.8 meter, long with a beam of 95, 29 meter. They were modernized several times, with the most substantial between 1934 and 1936. During this modernization, the ship was enlarged and grew to almost 46,000 tons. Nagato and her sister Mutsu served into World War II. Though Mutsu was lost due to an accident, Nagato became the only battleships to survive the war. Coming in at number 7 on our list we have the South Dakota Class battleships of the United States Navy. These warships were originally designed to be smaller and more compact than the North Carolina Class battleships. However, they were still large enough to be ranked among the largest battleships of all time. Though the United States was happy with its North Carolina Class battleships, they did not like the fact that its armor was incapable of resisting its own 1/6 guns. Seeking a better protected design, the South Dakota Class were born. Featuring the same 9/16 guns and 27 knot speed of the North Carolina Class, the South Dakota were more compact. This allowed armor to be better concentrated over the vitals, improving protection. 4 ships of the class were built, serving throughout the Second World War. As the war went on, the weight of additional anti-aircraft weaponry and equipment caused the ships to grow, eventually displacing over 46,000 tons at full load. Making a special appearance on our list is HMS Hood of the Royal Navy. Though officially classified as a battle cruiser, at the time of her commissioning, Hood had battleship levels of armor protection. For 2 decades she remained the largest warship in the world, earning her the nickname Mighty Hood. Developed in 1915 as an improved version of the Queen Elizabeth Class battleships, the Admiral Class, of which Hood belonged, would have been faster and better protected. However, they were soon redesigned into even larger ships featuring a power plant that was vastly more powerful. However, the need for materials elsewhere saw the cancellation of 3 ships of the class and only one, Hood, would be completed. Hood would become the largest warship in the world, featuring 8 powerful 1/5 guns and a high speed of 32 knots on a deep load displacement of 46,680 tons. Though they preceded the South Dakota Class battleships, the 2 ships of the North Carolina Class were larger, earning them the number 5th spot on our list. North Carolina and her sister, USS Washington, were the first ships of the final generation of United States battleship design. The United States began developing the North Carolina Class back in 1935. Development was chaotic, with several dozen proposals being examined in an effort to remain within treaty limits. The final design was for a battleship capable of 27 knots with 12 1/4 guns and armor to resist 1/4 shells. However, the ships were designed to be able to swap the 1/4 guns out for 9 larger 1/6 guns in the event Japan refused to sign the Second London Naval Treaty. Eventually, the escalator clause allowing the larger 1/6 guns was put into effect and the North Carolina Class were built with the more powerful 1/6/45 naval guns. With the more powerful guns, the North Carolina Class were one of the more potent designs during World War II. Number 4 on our list is represented by HMS Vanguard, the last battleship of the Royal Navy as well as the last battleship to ever be launched. Fast, well-armed, and extremely well protected, Vanguard is easily one of the best battleships ever to sail the sea. Knowing the threat of the newest German and Japanese battleships, the Royal Navy had already designed the powerful Lion-class battleships. However, it soon became apparent that they could not be launched in time, leaving the Royal Navy at a disadvantage. It was decided to take a modified Lion-class hull and equip it with leftover 1/5 guns from World War I to produce a battleship that would be available sooner. However, the ship would not be completed until after World War II due to revised designs and the shuffling of material elsewhere. Though Vanguard as an ad hoc design, she was incredibly powerful, featuring an excellent combination of speed, firepower, and armor that put her above a vast majority of more well-known battleships. Coming in at third place we have the Bismarck Class battleships of the German Kriegsmarine. However, it's not the famous Bismarck that represents the class, but her sister Tirpitz. Modifications made to her during the war increased her displacement until she became the largest battleship used by a European country. Throughout the 1930s, the German Navy had examined several battleship designs that remained within treaty limits. However, they eventually decided to build a much more balanced and traditional design that exceeded 40,000 tons. Two ships were built, Bismarck and Tirpitz. Featuring 815 guns and exceptionally strong armor, they were the most powerful battleships in Europe at the time of their launch. Though Bismarck was lost early in the war, Tirpitz soldiered on as a fleet in being, quietly spending her time in Norway. She received new equipment and weaponry during this time, making her grow until she displaced over 2,300 more tons than her sister. The last battleships completed by the United States Navy, the Iowa Class battleships were larger, faster, and more heavily armored than all previous U.S. dreadnoughts. Their impressive displacement of over 57,000 long tons nets them the second-place spot on our list. Designed to counter the fast battleships of the Japanese Kongo class, the Iowa class were designed with an emphasis on high speeds in addition to armor and firepower. Capable of speeds greater than 32.5 knots, the Iowa class needed to be larger in order to accommodate the huge power plant and greater freeboard. Armor was similar to the preceding South Dakota class, though the firepower was enhanced through the use of 916/50 guns, a more powerful model compared to those aboard the earlier dreadnoughts. Designed for a standard displacement of 45,000 long tons, as time went on the ships got ever heavier due to more weaponry and electronics. Eventually, their displacement grew to over 57,000 long tons. In addition to their size and speed, the Iowa class are known for their long service lives. The ships served on and off until the early 1990s, well past the age of the battleship. Finally, number 1. This position is filled by the battleships that remain the largest of their type, the mighty Yamato Class. Being the battleships that were designed to be larger and more powerful than any other, it should come as no surprise that the Yamato Class reigned supreme as the largest battleships ever built. These Leviathans were designed to outgun and outlast all competition. To do this, they carried 9 massive 18.1, 460 mm, guns and 410 mm, of belt armor. Even with the large guns and thick armor, the battleships were relatively fast with speeds exceeding 27 knots. Only 2 battleships of this class, Yamato and Musashi, were completed. A third ship, Shinano, was later completed as an aircraft carrier. Like her sisters, she was also the largest of her kind and was not surpassed until the supercarriers first arrived years later. With a full load displacement equal to that of 2 treaty battleships, the Japanese Navy made no attempt to abide by the rules, producing a powerful battleship that certainly will never be surpassed in size. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe today to get new updates.